And it is I, Lisa Crenshaw, and I'm here to talk to you about Benjamin Netanyahu, Prime Minister of Israel, and Iddi Amin, who was the President of Uganda. Benjamin Netanyahu, here's his name, Benjamin Netanyahu. Benjamin Netanyahu changed the J in his name to the letter Y because back in the days of the old Hebrews, there was no J letter. J was not part of the alphabet. Anything that had to do with the letter J was the letter Y. So Benjamin became Benyamin. What we're going to do is we're going to take the M from Benyamin and we're going to turn it upside down and it becomes the letter W. We're going to add that to Benyamin and that becomes Ben-Yahweh. We're going to take the word Ben here and the word N here. Because we have two letter N's, one crosses out the other, so we get rid of the N in the letter Ben, and it becomes the word B and the word N. So what we have is, we have BN. And that is a question, and the answer to the question BN is the way. What is left over from this after we have removed this word and translated it into a question is the letters Y-A-W. So what we have is the way, and we add the letters Y-A-W to it, and it gives us Yahweh. Hebrews, the Israelis, they read from right to left. So we're going to read this from right to left, and that is Yahweh. And Yahweh is the name of their God. So Benyamin Netanyahu becomes Yahweh, the God. We're going to talk about Iddi Amin and Benyamin Netanyahu. Here's a picture of Iddi Amin. He was the president of Uganda, leader of Uganda. And here's a picture of the Prime Minister of Israel, Benjamin Netanyahu. People believe that the real Jews, the real Hebrews are black. So people believe that the 12 tribes of Israel are black people. What we're going to do is we're going to look at Iddi Amin here. I wish I could have got a photo of him. I tried, where he is dressed in his military colors, which are the color of the Israeli flag. But we're going to have to make do with this. If you look at Iddi Amin, who was a ruthless dictator, they called him the butcher. He killed people, murdered people. If you look at him in his military outfit here, you can clearly see every representation of a star. This right here is a representation of a star. This right here is a representation of a star. This right here is a representation of a star. If you look closely right here, this is a star. This represents a star. If you look in here, you will see a star. If you look over here, you will see a star. And if you look over here, you will see a star. So what you see is you see Iddi Amin, the butcher, draped in stars, which is very significant. If you look at Prime Minister Benjamin Netanyahu as he sits proudly in front of the flag of Israel, the Star of David, the star is very meaningful. Not only is it very meaningful here for Prime Minister Netanyahu in Israel, it is very meaningful here, as you can see, for Iddi Amin, the butcher of Uganda. He is the butcher, draped in stars. He is Iddi Amin, stars meaning Star of David, military garb meaning the flag. He is draped in the flag of Israel. Iddi Amin, what we're going to do is we're going to take Iddi Amin and we're going to take Benyamin Netanyahu. We're going to take the first letter of Benyamin, and the first letter is the letter B. We're going to take the lowercase b to represent the capital B, and we're going to turn it sideways and it becomes the letter D. Ednyamin. Because N is repetitive here, it's used twice. We only need to use it once. We have a one singular meaning. So we get rid of the one N here, and what we have is Edyamin. Amin. So Benyamin Netanyahu becomes Iddi Amin, the butcher. Here's Iddi Amin, aka Benjamin Netanyahu, Prime Minister of Israel. All we have to do is place the Israeli flag, the Star of David, over him, and he is draped in the Israeli flag. And here we have Iddi Amin in military garb, draped in stars, which is representing the flag of Israel. The stars are representing the Star of David. So Prime Minister Benjamin Netanyahu is none other than Iddi Amin, the butcher. Iddi Amin was also called the Daddy. Yahweh, whom is God. God is the Father. The Father is the Daddy. So the Daddy, Iddi Amin, draped in the Star of David. This is what this military garb represents, the Star of David. Benjamin Netanyahu and his Star of David. Benjamin Netanyahu and Iddi Amin, my friends, are the same person. Yahweh, the God. Benjamin Netanyahu, the same person. Iddi Amin, Benjamin Netanyahu, the butcher, the Daddy, the God, the Yahweh. The butcher, the Daddy, the God, the Yahweh. Benjamin Netanyahu is Iddi Amin. People talk about Iddi Amin as being a terrible, terrible, horrible person, perhaps a demon-possessed man. If you saw my videos on the three major religions in Israel, I was able to show you the demon-possessed man through the three holy sites, the church with the photo of Jesus at the Christian holy site. There's his face, the Wailing Wall, which represents the wailing of the man, and the Dome of the Rock, which represents the rock which the demon-possessed man was cutting himself with while he was wailing up in the caves. So I have constructed for you the demon-possessed man, who was none other than Iddi Amin, the butcher.